man. I'll do what I do.
Backlash. All right. Historically speaking, post-Civil War Reconstruction that lasted from 1865 to 1877. So after the Civil War, Reconstruction was supposed to be a time of integration and rebuilding and a chance for Black people to fully participate in society. And if you read some of the stories, some Black folks use that as an opportunity to get back, to catch back, as they say. So you went from 260 some odd years of enslavement, or 254 years, I think 254 years of enslavement. And now you had Black men who were formerly enslaved and treated bad, literally out there fist fighting and boxing with the people who formerly had them incarcerated, because they could do that because the Union Army was still stationed. Shout out to Corey Smith. The Union Army was still stationed in the South. Okay. And so, of course, culturally, if you've been raised to believe these people are less than you, these people are supposed to work, you've been brainwashed to believe that this is mine, there's going to be a backlash. So what arose was something called white resistance. It came in the form of terrorist organizations like the KKK and the implementation of Jim Crow laws. And we throw that around all the time. Okay. But these are just laws that are purposely designed to target Black people. They target your habits. They target, they're culturally designed. They're designed to target you for being you. Okay. And this effectively rolled back. It rolled back the progress that had been made from 1865 to 1877. I mean, at that time, you had Black people who were governors. You had Black people who were in Congress. You had Black people who, I think there was a vice president, ran for vice president. And so this is what happened in that 11-year time period. And the federal government eventually abandoned the Black communities. There was a deal struck, Lincoln died, and it left them vulnerable to this, and it returned them back to the oppression. And that will last for another 100 years. Shout out to Alonzo Dunn. So this is white backlash right here in this country. From 1865 to 1877. Now, I always speak about Red Summer, and this was something that happened as a result of the Great Migration. So as Black Americans moved they moved to the North to seek better opportunities. They wanted to leave places like Mississippi and Alabama. They wanted to leave places like Louisiana and Arkansas. And, they moved to places like Detroit, Chicago, and Ohio. And white communities, they feared the economic and political shifts. They came with the migration. Okay. These people were doing well for themselves, especially Oklahoma. We always talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so as a result of that, there was a backlash. And they literally, Red Summer 1919 literally saw violent race riots. Okay. And it really wasn't race riots. It was really white people coming to Black towns and looting and shooting and unaliving and burning and pillaging multiple cities, white mobs attacking Black communities in places like Chicago, Washington, D.C., Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this was a direct reaction to Black people asserting their rights and presence in these areas. So basically, they were a little too uppity, you see, and they were doing a little too well for themselves. You ungrateful in words, and so we're going to burn it down. Okay, we're going to destroy you. And that set us back 100 years. So when you move forward to the civil rights movements of the 1950s, the fight to end segregation and secure voting rights, that was met with violent oppression. And the backlash, politicians like George Wallace, he pushed segregationist rhetoric. You had these white survivalist groups. They terrorized activists in southern states who were coming down there trying to get Black people registered to vote. They used all sorts of tactics. And even, every major victory, was met with resistance. And it proved that progress never comes without a fight. Here's the crazy thing. Right now, many of you listening to this are still experiencing the remnants of the most recent Backlash. So in the 1960s and 70s, black people got together. I'm black and I'm proud. You had the black man, the black woman fighting for the black family together. Shout out to Black Sand. Thank you so much. Um, J. Edgar Hoover, CIA, FBI, they got together and came up with a plan called COINTELPRO. Okay. And this specifically was designed to destabilize the black community by eliminating the black man. And Hollywood is in cahoots with it too. We shifted from having positive black role models like Harry Belafonte and all these other folks to basically having pimps as our role models on television and screen. Look at all those black exploitation films. And so from 1980 to about 1990, because the civil rights movement literally brought America to its knees. Okay, it literally forced America to change before America was ready to change, and there was a lot of resentment associated with that. Okay, so they had to do something to undermine the black family because the black family was the source of the power. And just fast forward today, look how we went from being the most married group of people to the most unmarried group of people. We have all these children being born out of wedlock. And it's not solely because of the choices of women. It's because of the environment also. So let's not forget that. Oftentimes we like to blame black women for having children out of wedlock, but it's also the environment. And it's also the environment that makes black men not necessarily always see marriage and fatherhood as appealing. Okay. And I'm not saying we're not going to not take personal accountability, but we have to take in the fact that there's been systematic barriers set up and designed to force us apart and even foster this gender war. Okay. But when the civil rights movement forced America to acknowledge its racial disparities, the system found new ways to suppress the black communities. And that was mass incarceration. We'll flood their communities with dope. We'll give them role models like pimps. We'll have all of them walking around with Coke spoons, and we we'll institute some policies and become tough on crime. Policies that disproportionately target black people. We'll call it the war on drugs, and then really it was a war on black America, and it led to a prison industrial complex that we see today. So many of you were born in the 80s and 90s and maybe 2000s, and you're suffering from that same pushback. Okay. Now, another one more recently, most of you probably were alive at this time, is the 2009 Tea Party movement. So Barack Obama, the first black man, was elected president in 2008, and he represented a historic moment. And there was a backlash. The Tea Party movement emerged, and it was driven by a lot of coded language, a lot of fear mongering about government overreach and deep-seated discomfort with a black man in the highest office. And many of these policies were just rebranded and they pushed back against racial progress. Okay. Now, whether you like it or not, again, I tell you guys all the time, I voted for Donald Trump, not because I think he's a great guy, but because I'm interested in low taxes and such. All right. And Trump's campaign, however, was built on xenophobia. All right. It was built on anti-immigrant rhetoric. It was built on the fear of cultural change. Okay. It was built on the fear of perceived loss of white dominance. Right. We want to take our country back. We want to make America great. You understand? And so now you got, a nationalistic surge in nationalistic rhetoric, and it emboldens these hate groups and these xenophobic people, and you get policies aimed at reversing civil rights and these sort of gains. And it's a direct reaction to the shifting demographics of America and the increasing visibility of folks, minorities. Now, this is not the only place this happened. Okay. In France, and I know we got some folks here in the UK, rising nationally. They had something called the National Front, and this was from 1980 to the present. And if you guys have been to France before, it's a really dirty city. You see what I mean? It's got a lot of immigrants. But a lot of it rose because of the fear of immigration and their loss of national identity. So you had the rise of xenophobia, anti-immigrant policies, like they would blame the Muslims and the other minorities and the dark race. You got Brexit. Brexit literally said we don't want to be part of the European Union anymore. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that if you were part of the European Union, people didn't necessarily have to ask permission to come to your country. So France or Belgium or one of these other countries could allow immigrants in, and then they'd all come to the UK. And so the UK left the European Union in 2016 because of concerns of immigration and national sovereignty, and that's what fueled it. And so the backlash is there's been a rise of anti-immigrant rhetoric and a lot of hate crimes and a lot of nationalistic sentiment. Same thing in Germany.
DennisSpurling podcast, click your mouse pad, yeah, we out back, hit the like, hit subscribe, don't just hate watch, cause we outside, let them hate watch, go and play pop, we just lay back, he don't play that, we on playback, we on playback, we go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something, tune in, gotta learn something, Uncle D podcast, bump it, likes up, hit the sub button, black men, yeah, we earn something, tune in, gotta learn something, Uncle D podcast, bump it, likes up, hit the sub button. This is DennisSpurling podcast. Don't just hate watch, hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate, super chat, cash app, put something in the collection plate. Church.
And I want y'all to make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. And we're going to kind of get back to what we like to do over here, man. I need y'all to check in at a certain point when it's time to check in. I need to checking in to start happening again. We got to go ahead and get this algorithm pumping.